So, yes, me again. I'm trying to do a new playthrough for Armored Core 2. We've seen it before, we've seen it plenty of times, but some things have changed. The first thing that changed is my wonderful wife decided to get me a new controller. Mostly to freeze up, open up the PS3 so she can actually play games she wants to play. But when I got the new controller, it's a Razer Wolverine. It's a scuff controller. And I thought that maybe it would be a good idea to to try and adapt a more modern control scheme. So I tried to do something where I was using the sticks for movement and window control, but it didn't work out. I had great control over the lock window, but I could not control the machines the way I used to. It turns out digital controls are the way to go. So now I'm back to using the default controls. I'm taking advantage of the scuff aspect for look up, look down. It's just a better fit in my hands that way. That's always been the biggest problem with Armored Core is looking up and looking down, vertical play.
All you have to do is destroy.
I'm emulating what I used to use on an old controller called an FPS Master. I basically got that for Armored Core 3 to take advantage of left arm weapons at the time. And it just worked out better for me for having look up, look down on like my ring finger, like my middle finger, as opposed to having to jump back and forth with the shoulder buttons.
But only in that capacity. Keep this in
But anyways, now I have like 5 different control schemes floating around in my head.
Here they are.
So even though I'm back to the digital controls with the modification I made, I still gotta get used to it. But I figured it'd be a good opportunity to do another playthrough. I mean, I'm very used to it. It's the way I've played for years. Oh, don't take that as me being bad at it. I've never been good at blading in any edition of the game. Whoop. But having tighter control of the booster, having more precise control over my strafes. Don't think my blading is a sign that I'm not good at this game. Well, I'm not like a master at this game, but I'm competent enough. I just can't blade. It's not what I was built for. I was built for mid or long range play, which is going to be a little funny depending on what happens later, as you'll eventually see. So yeah, this is basically the introductory mission to the game, where you kind of get to discover how the controls work.
The leader is headed your way. Take him out.
Luckily, you don't need a whole lot of look up, look down. Still can't blade. Yeah, that was way off. What am I thinking? And that's another reason I don't blade, is because I tend to get bladed back, and I just don't like it. How can I be this bad at it? I've been playing this game for basically 20 years off and on, and I still can't blade. I've even been practicing with blades with other machines that are designed for it. I just can't do it. There we go. I'll call that a victory. Believe it or not, just because of how bad I am at blading. I will take it. Ooh, I got mail. So, if you're not familiar with the game, most of the game's story is told through, like, it's not told to you directly. You have to kind of infer the story. Mostly through mail, mostly through general descriptions of missions. The general premise of the game is you're on Mars, corporations are screwing with the government, everybody's fighting for control, and you're a gun for hire. You don't really... There's no real path through the game that to changes the outcome at the end. It just changes access you have to various parts during the course, and even access to different missions during the course. And good old Nell, your operator. Now, one of the first things you want to do, this machine is terrible. It is the basic starter AC, and it doesn't have parts that are worthwhile on it. For instance, the blade isn't bad, the core is useful, the radar is fine, but the bulk of the machine is just bad. So, you have to go for the first hidden part. First hidden part is located in the AC test. Why am I hitting the best thing you can do is take out one of these guys just to minimize the damage you're going to take later on as you're trying to get to the roof. I mean, you can find all the parts. You can find all the parts in walkthroughs and like online, like GameFAQs even still has all the information you need to get all the hidden parts. You got to destroy that thing up there, and you got to manually target it. Wow, I confused myself too much by choosing a bunch of different control schemes. The controls for this game were never particularly good in the first place, but this is just bad. I'll get there. Alright, now you need the limited release, so you can have the unlimited energy. You can fly up there, and I'm still going for my analogs, as though I still had that experimental control scheme I was working on. Got the part. Go back down. I like to just finish it off, because I don't like leaving things unfinished. There he is. See, even the AC test shows how bad this particular rifle is. It's taking forever to kill these guys. Do a little better with missiles, but... And there is the rub when you're using limited releases. Eventually you run out. So after you get that part, you want to basically sell everything off and create something better to start with. I like going with 3 options. The first option is going with a missile arm machine. This is probably the easiest, it's probably the most reliable. It is not the fastest way. It takes time to kill opponents with missiles sometimes, especially depending on what you have as far as your fire control system. It upgrades it relatively slowly, but it gets the job done, and it actually emulates my preferred machine, my preferred style of play. The next option is going with something with machine gun weapon arms. Now, this is faster, this is more fun, it's more traditional. You do put yourself at more risk, because you have to get a little closer to your opponents. And it's become a new favorite style of play for me. I recommend going this route sometimes just to get like a standard competitive level machine. Now, the third option is something that's relatively new for me. Yes, that is starting with a tank without a back cannon. This is a limiter release machine. It is probably the fastest way to clear the arena, because those T9 arms are just brutal. It does depend on limiter release, which means you are putting yourself at more risk. It also has a lower margin for error because you don't have a ton of ammo, especially to start with. That's why the rockets are on there, just so you have something else to fall back on. It upgrades relatively quickly, and you get something that's fairly reliable. I still prefer this, but I figure I'd actually let my viewers decide which machine I choose to go my arena run with. We're going to be playing through the arena first, just to make sure that we can get as much money as we can before we go and start running missions. Because missions can be brutal if you don't have the right machine for it. So, you got missile arms, you got machine gun arms, and you got plasma arms. let me know which way you want to go. Or you want me to go, rather. That's probably more accurate. Yeah. Tell me what you think.